were you aware that decency would be changed? The word decency would be changed. That what you would define as decent would be changed. It actually would be changed into nonsensical. It would be changed to obtuse. You're freaking strange. Well, let me give you some examples of what decency has meant. It means that white people have to retrain themselves of not being so white. It means that racism is around every corner. Every corner, no matter where you are, racism is everywhere. It means that Shakespeare is racist. It means that mathematics and doing homework are both racist, because if you come to a definitive conclusion about anything, you are a racist, you are a bigot, and you are prejudiced. You're prejudiced against the wrong answer. To be or not to be. These things are all being defined, and this is what you wanted for decency. This is what you... Some of y'all are like, yeah, the Muppets aren't decent anymore. Like, being a man or a woman definitively isn't decent. Little girls can be redefined and given access to by sex offenders inside their bathrooms. Bathrooms aren't decent anymore. I guess the lines are blurred, you know, and that's what it looks like to be decent. It means to turn a blind eye to the truth of what actually was being held together, even by an individual that you thought was uncouth. And you also thought that, and I guess it is that you believe that what is happening right now is just the way that the normal should be. That the individuals that were speaking against the old normal and were creating a new normal, like a Fauci or a Birx or any one of these other screwballs in Washington, D.C., that were taking control of this nation's populace, I guess they were decent as well. And this is where I have the issue with any individual that says, well, these are small minorities and they just have the loudest voice right now. Well, that's not true. These crazy people who they're purporting to be the majority, but they actually are a minority. But the issue is that what they're doing is they're changing everything for the majority. They are not the majority. Their crazy ideas are not the majority. And y'all who are the ones who are saying this is okay are the ones who have to stand against it. You're the ones who have to speak up and speak out against it. Because you villainize the people like me who don't believe the hype. We don't believe what we're being fed. And you made it so that our voices are diminished while your voices just remain silent. I mean, Alyssa Milano talking about CPAC yesterday. I mean, she's supposedly, the Hollywood voice. That Hollywood voice has nothing to say about what's going on with the Me Too movement now that it's Democrats. Because the same thing happened with Biden. When that whole thing was coming out against Biden before, y'all didn't say nothing. He was you guys' man, right? I mean, come on, like, either you're intellectually honest about this stuff or you're not. And I don't believe you guys are right now. Unless some of you are just scared to speak out and to have a voice, which I get. I mean, you see what happens to people like me and others who actually do speak out and do use their voice for the truth. But why? But how do you even come to the conclusions that these folks are coming to, where you see the absurdity in it? You see that racism. These people, if you're not willing to acknowledge that there's some black people out there who have a freaking couple screws loose and are now being looked at as the mainstream. I mean, they only want to recognize one portion of black America, not all. It's not about black lives mattering. It's about certain black lives mattering. It's about certain black voices being raised up, certain black women being lifted up, certain black men being lifted up. It's only about certain of this stuff, not all. And if you're not willing to recognize that it's not all, then you're not willing to understand what's really happening. And this is why when you see the one meme I put up, people don't want to recognize that there's poor white people. They don't want to recognize that there's rich black people or even rich Hispanics. They want to recognize rich Asians, individuals who have had massive success, who don't buy into all this stuff, but, just do their own thing. They take care of their business. So how is it that you interact with this stuff? How is it that you come to your conclusions and use your voice? Well, you speak on people's platforms and you give them the time of day. You don't try to negate their point of view. You just say, okay, you know what? I understand. Simply. There's pieces of this where your ideology, you become either an ideologue and you just let go of all sense and sensibility, pardon the pun, and you let go of all things that you would call normal because it doesn't fit your ideologue and the narrative that you carry with that. But if you hold to certain ideologies and you're willing to actually maybe question some of them and maybe give somebody air to maybe speak into the things that you believe, now that you're seeing where those ends actually, the ends actually will end up, say like letting little kids have gender reassignments without letting their parents know, or even mutilating their genitalia via surgeons, or even an equality act that's not about equality, it's about suppression. If you're willing to actually just to say something, to speak on your platforms, to talk rationally about these things, maybe still hold to your political side, I don't care. There's plenty of people who hold to their political side, but they see the ridiculousness in it. Like, I'm a Republican. Okay, actually, I'm a constitutional conservative. I believe the Republican Party is freaking garbage. The people that are running the Republican Party, part of the establishment, are garbage. And they don't care about the American people. Just like I don't believe the establishment Democrats believe in the American people as well. They have an ideology that's based off of trying to insert communism into the United States of America. And whether or not you're willing to recognize that, you can't deny that that's what they're actually doing. I mean, it's really what they're doing. So how do you speak into it? And how do you just voice your concerns? Well, you do so either in the small formats or you do so in the big formats. Small formats are individuals who you know you can trust, who you can talk to, who are on the other side of you, who you've not villainized yet, because hopefully you don't do that. Or you get into big platforms and you actually speak into people's comments or whatever on social media. You say, you know what, I get what you're saying, which several of you have done with me. People who I know who disagree with me completely politically, who have actually said, you know what, David, you got a point. And not doing it just with me, but doing it with people who I'm not your only freaking friend who's a conservative. I ain't the only one. I'm not the only friend who's black that believes these things either. But maybe, I don't know, maybe I am. Shoot, I don't know. But if I'm not, speak into these people, encourage them as they try to give a voice. And as you encourage them, you'll be encouraged to actually speak out as well too, against the mainstream narratives that are taking a hold of you. Because these people are coming for every side of us, and I've said this so many times, they're coming for all of us. Because that's how communism and Marxism works. They come for everyone. They villainize one group, then the next group, then the next group, and before you know it, people can't eat. And how do you think this stuff works? Because they will have eaten everyone, and they would have destroyed everyone that would have supported them. That's what happened in the Russian Revolution, happened in Cambodia. So this is what my ask is. My ask is, are you willing to just comment, just support, maybe leave a positive note, whether publicly or privately, with the people who you know have been saying something for a while now that are level-headed, where you can speak into their lives and say, you know what, I get what you're saying now. How do I help? Just ask the question. It's easier to say, how do I help? How can I help? Than it is to say, oh crap, it's too late to go back. Because it'll be too late for us first. It'll be too late for you second.